technology changing all the time, and the Disruptors talks about things like companies like Uber. Why do you think they face so much opposition when they're trying to make something better, ideally?
Because there's a lot of embedded vested interest that they're disrupting, and they don't want to be disrupted, right? I mean, there's artificial barriers. If I'm a cab company, and I've had my way basically for the last 50 years by providing a substandard service, and I've made all kinds of money, and somebody comes along that is starting to steal my market share, that's the only reason that that they're objecting. So as a old economics prof of mine used to tell me, just follow the money, right? Whoever's starting to lose it, that's who's going to be whining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So fortunately for consumers, barriers like that are artificial, and protests like that are without merit. So ultimately, the truth will prevail, and the better customer experience in a democracy will win out, because that's what we want, right? I want a better cab ride at 40% cheaper in a clean cab,
You can pay on your PayPal. I love that.
All that,
So after all your success and your current business, do you ever have moments when you feel like a rookie again, or moments of doubt or questions?
Absolutely. I've started a new career as more of an investor, where I'm actually trying to find companies that are worth investing in, of which in Canada, by the way, I believe there are many. We've got a great ecosystem and great entrepreneurs in this country, can hold our own with anyone in the world. But this is a new game for me, right? And raising funds from institutions in Canada to try and support the tech scene in Canada is not an easy job. So totally learned a lot in the last year, and totally have had moments where I've said, "Oh my God, what have I? What's all this about?" It's a little tougher than I thought.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, for sure. All the time, never stops.
That's good to know.
So far from having all the answers, crazy.
No. So what is your opinion of when is it best to put money into a tech company? At the beginning stages, or after they've made themselves a little name? Because there's two schools of thoughts on that, I would say.
Well, the two schools of thought are, it's called a risk-reward continuum, right? If you go early, the company should be worth a lot less before they've proven something. So whatever you decide to invest in should get you a much larger piece of that company. And if it does do really well, then you're going to do really well.
Yeah.
But the odds of it doing well at that stage are a lot lower than when you move up the curve and they've actually started to prove something. So they're worth more at that stage. If you decide to invest in them there, the same amount of money that you put in will get you less of that company because it's worth more.
That's true.
But it's a safer investment. So it's all about risk and reward. The people that first plunk money down into Facebook, well, that's a bad example because those college guys got ripped off in the lawsuit. But a lot of times, like if you were one of the first investors in, Square or Twitter or, Google, there'll be no tag days held for you. But for every 3 of those, there's 1,000 early startups that go to zero, right? So, it's just a very risky stage to play, but it becomes more of a gamble at that point. Right?
So how do you choose the ones that you invest in now? What's your criteria?
We look for companies that are past the proof of concept. So the technology risk is behind them. Okay. They've actually started to get customers and users of whatever product or service that they're marketing. And they can come to us and say, look, I've got this many users. Here's how much it cost me to get them. Here's how much I think they'll be worth to me over time. And they can convince us that 80% of our investment is going to go into getting a whole pile more of those users, or the people that are going to be in the company to go and get a whole pile more users and make the company work. So, everything that we don't want money going into the tech or proving things. We're
Right.
looking for companies that have already started to prove something. So
Yeah.
we're willing, maybe it's because we're a little older, we're willing to go up the risk curve a little bit,
Right.
take a smaller piece of a company at a higher valuation for the certainty that they're onto something.
They're onto something, right? And that's your approach. But there's more than one, like we talked about.
Yeah.
For all of us that are still on the come up, we imagine that your life is full of ski trips. Nice.
I like to ski.
I know that you like to ski. um, Cottages, like that, and free time, I think, and freedom. So
That's a myth.
it's a myth.
That's a myth, man. I tell you, I pick my spots, but I'm working as hard today as I did at the beginning. And I've got 2 kids to boot, 10 and 12, right? So I'm on the go, right? Was it hard to get this interview? I can't remember. Did we change it a couple of times?
Yeah, it took a...
No, I'm busy. So it's a busy time. So that is not true. I mean, the stuff you see snippets of is not how I spend 365. Sadly, because I wouldn't mind,
So that's like one of my last questions is, how do you find that balance between work life, family life, and all your passions in life?
It's really, really hard. And for young entrepreneurs, I think it's getting even harder because I think we live in a time where things are moving very, very fast. So if you're not willing to be working on your idea at an early stage 7 days a week, the competitor is. You can't hide. There's no technology barrier to entry like when I started in business. Gave us a little bit of room. So I think if you decide to go this route, you have to be prepared to commit long hours and, make it something that you love to do so that when you're sitting in your kitchen, on the computer at dinner time on a Sunday, it doesn't feel so much like work, right? You're really actually enjoying what you're up to.
Yeah.
So work-life balance is another myth. I think it's like, work hard for 10 years, sell your company and take a year off. That's the new definition of work-life balance.
Or just find things that you really like to do.
Then it's not work, right?
Right.
Exactly.
That's the only way that I think you can do it. So where can people find you online these days?
My Twitter is Bruce_Croxon. That's probably where I spend the most time. My investment company is called Round 13 Capital. You can find us through there. I've got an Instagram account, Croxon_Bruce, for more personal things. And then there's a Facebook fan page. So, it's not hard to find me.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's not hard to find you. That's for sure. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
You're welcome.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, good luck with the site. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Talk soon.
Touch. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.